ladies, welcome to week number 5. So this is the end of the first portion of our program, which is centered fully around developing self-love, and so that you can enter into true love with that. Start with yourself. So we've gone through mind, body, and spirit, which is through self-awareness for the mind, self-care for the body, and self-expression for the spirit. So we're going to finish today on the soul. So mind, body, spirit, and soul. Spirit and soul I consider two different things. Spirit is your energy, your life force, your essence of being alive. Whereas your soul is that eternal essence within you that is unfazed by external situations. It doesn't matter how much money you do or don't have. It doesn't matter what clothes you do or don't wear. It doesn't matter what connections or what job you may or may not have. It stays constant through your entire life. That is your soul. That is your true being, and your heart wisdom comes from the soul. Your excitement comes from spirit, but your heart wisdom, that inner knowing, is through your soul. So this week is all about tapping into that inner knowing and your heart wisdom and that guidance that only you can provide for yourself. There's no coach on this planet, there's no psychic on this earth that can give you the advice that you can get from your own heart, and that's through your soul. So today is all about self-love and expressing that through the things that we've learned, through continuing your self-awareness and developing that, and we'll be able to focus on that through the journal prompts that I continue to provide throughout the weeks coming. And then continuing your self-care, making sure you allow the time and space for your body to thrive as we go through the coming weeks and beyond. Always make that a priority. And then continuing your self-expression. So if you ever feel like you don't have the energy or the inspiration to be creative, notice that that is a thermometer for your overall well-being, and it's time to check in with your mind and your body to recalibrate and course correct to get back in touch with your ability to be creative. And through all of those steps, you are practicing self-love. And through all of that, different things will come up. You'll feel different emotions. You may find yourself judging yourself or judging people around you, or feeling rushed without the time to devote to these things. So it's a continual practice. I mean, even as much work as I've done, I still have to consciously make this a daily practice to continue. And I notice that if I don't make the time and space to focus on it, I get out of alignment. I get out of whack. I start to feel anxious or overwhelmed or exhausted, and I have to check back in and go through these steps on a regular basis to maintain the self-love necessary to show up as my best self in every situation, so I can be the best mom that I want to be, and the best wife that I want to be, and the best coach that I want to be, and friend, daughter. Every role, every hat that you wear can be improved when you are practicing self-love, because it enables you to fill your cup first, to restore that energy that gives you the life essence to express yourself and have spirit in everything you do. So this is a week to just check in with yourself, to ask yourself, do I truly love myself? Am I doing the things that show me that I love myself? And it could be little things. If you notice things around your house that have been maybe on a to-do list for way too long, and just that one little doorknob that's, hanging off, or the whatever it is that might be broken or scratched or tarnished, that if you just made time to do that one little thing, it wouldn't be that nagging sensation every time you look at it. And you'll be telling yourself, you'll reaffirm to yourself that I am worth it. I am worth not having something in my life on a daily basis that doesn't feel good or right or proper enough for it to be worthy. Like I am worthy of having my space feel good, to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to feel an expression of me, the best version of me. So if it's a matter of actually folding your laundry or getting it off the bed or doing the laundry so it's not in a pile, or painting scuffs on your wall, or vacuuming, for us it's a daily activity of vacuuming dog hair, just to make it feel like, yes, I live here and I'm proud of it, and I can be creative in this space, and I can make space to relax for myself in this environment, because it's conducive to that, because you've made it a priority to make it feel good and to be expressive of who you are and who you prefer to show up as. So make this a week of checking in with yourself. Is there anything in my mind that's feeling cluttered? And then, for me, it's a daily 3 pages in the morning in my journal to declutter my mind. Is there anything in my body that feels off? Maybe you need to schedule a dentist appointment or a doctor checkup or a yoga class or something that would make you feel better in your body. Maybe it's asking yourself, am I truly making an impact in the world? Am I expressing myself? Am I being myself, showing up as myself? Does my wardrobe reflect who I want to be seen as in this world, as my true self? So checking in with your self-expression, and is it up to snuff for your enjoyment? It's not for anyone else's perception, it's just for you to feel your best and to feel most energized. And it's a good week to check in with each of those areas and be honest with yourself. Be brutally honest. If there's things that you recognize that, no, they're not quite what I want, but I don't have the time or the money or the energy to do anything about it, notice that and don't judge yourself for it. Don't beat yourself up about it, but take an honest inventory of all the things, mind, body, and spirit, that may feel out of alignment this week, and make it a priority to, in that moment when you feel it, to do something about it. For me, sometimes I just get into a routine, especially with this pandemic, of not doing all of the pampering that I'm used to doing when I get seen by more people out and about. And it started to, made me realize that I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it because it makes me feel good to have my nails done and look down in the shower and, see that pretty pink or whatever it is that I did for myself, and that foot massage that came with it. That was for me. That was time for myself. And so just recognizing, maybe it's on Zoom calls like this, if it feels like you want a new shirt to just feel more alive on those calls, to make time for that pedicure, make time for that shopping trip, or maybe you just want to eat healthier. Make time, work it into the budget that you can buy some of those more exciting ingredients, and work in more fresh fruits and vegetables and juices and all the things that kind of take a little more time and consideration than pulling something out of the pantry. So this week is all about tapping into your soul and asking yourself, what do I need? What would make me happy? What would bring more joy to this moment, this day, this week? And to actually act upon it, to know that you are worthy of taking that inspired action and doing something about it for yourself, for no other reason than that it does bring you more joy and make you happy. That is plenty enough reason to do something that excites you and makes you feel good. This is the week to do that. So I invite you to begin in gratitude. I had a mentor that called it BIG, begin in gratitude, B-I-G. And so to start your day that way, but to make it a practice that you continue. It's not just a worksheet that we do in this week. It's something that, you wake up every morning and before you open your eyes, you just think of 3 things that I'm grateful for. So maybe it's, I am grateful to be breathing, to wake up this morning. I am grateful for this body that feels good enough to get out of bed this morning. I am grateful to live in a country where I am free to do what I want this morning. Whatever it is, just start with 3 things every morning that make you grateful to have another day to enjoy as a human being on this earth. So beginning in gratitude, part of our assignment this week will be to write, kind of like you did your happiness list, but a gratitude list. And if you've done this with me in the past, that's great. You can either start with that one and continue adding to it, or start fresh. See what new things have come to mind and start a new list. But I invite you to write a list. I would say at least a bare minimum of 20 things that you're grateful for. I would challenge you to write 100 things that you are grateful for, because it starts to make you realize how much you have. If you start with 20 things, it's the big things. It's, significant people in your life, significant experiences or abilities you have. But if you do 100 things, it gets down into some of the things on your happiness list where it's just, sunshine. I'm grateful for the sunshine. I'm grateful for flowers. I'm grateful for cheesecake. I'm grateful for chocolate. It starts to make you realize the fun little things that are worth appreciating, because what you appreciate appreciates. So I invite you to do at least 20. Go for 100 if you're feeling inspired. Feel free to share however long or short of a list you want to share in our Facebook group. So maybe some of us will see things on each other's list that inspires us to add those to ours and to be grateful for things we hadn't even thought of as gifts in our life. So please do share your gratitude list. But that is assignment number 1 for this week, focused on soul. Begin in gratitude. Assignment number 2, some of you I know are already familiar with Miguel Ruiz. His 4 Agreements is a popular book that talks about the 4 agreements to, it's kind of like a mantra for life. So the 4 agreements, number 1 is to be impeccable with your word. So that goes both ways, internal thoughts and external verbalizing. So be impeccable with your word. What does that mean? It means to keep it clean, to keep it, I was going to say positive, but that's not necessarily true. To keep it true, to keep it authentic to you. And oftentimes if we have complaints that we either think or verbalize, they're not entirely true. They're an assumption that we make, or an exaggeration, or a preconceived notion. So being impeccable with your word is being true with your word to yourself and to others. So being impeccable with your word to yourself also means cutting out the negative talk, that little critic in your mind. and to be impeccable with what you tell yourself and what you think about yourself. So really focus on that this week to use your words internally and externally for the greatest good of yourself and others around you. And then second to that, I wrote these down because sometimes I skip one. So be impeccable with your word. Number 2 is don't take it personally. So when you hear someone else say something that feels like a judgment or a criticism or a snarky comment or a slight, know that that is actually them projecting their own energy. It actually has very little to nothing to do with you. It is their perception of you. It is their perception of the situation. It is the perception of what's going on in their own mind, in their own life. And they're not being impeccable with their word, most likely. So I invite you to just focus on yourself and what you believe to be true for yourself without concern for what other people might say or think or do, reacting to you or projecting onto you. To not take it personally, because it's more about them than you. And that goes both ways. If you find yourself judging someone else or criticizing someone else, take a moment to pause and realize that it's not about them. That actually is about you. And you're not being impeccable with your word, but it can be a clue to something that's going on a little deeper. So if you judge someone for not being considerate, maybe you actually have judged yourself recently for not being considerate in a parallel way, that it's an invitation. It's triggering you only as an invitation for you to reflect on yourself, of how you can do that better for yourself. And people come into our lives to be a reflection of what's going on inside us. So if someone triggers you, know that that's not about them. It's about something that needs to be healed within yourself. So this is a good week to do that healing, to take that time and to be grateful for those triggers, because it's not anything bad that they've done or that you've done. It's simply a notification that there's something that wants your attention and needs healing. So this is a good week to really go deep and do that healing work. And the third agreement is don't make assumptions. So if you are going into something with preconceived notions of, it's going to go this way, or they're going to do this, or I'm going to do this, usually it's negative. It's a feeling of I'm going to fail, or they're going to disappoint me, or I have these high expectations that aren't going to be met. So don't make those assumptions. Just be in the now. Be in the present moment. Being fully present in the now eliminates all potential for assumptions. Assumptions can also go in the past. So, they said this, they must have meant that. Or this happened and that must mean this. Don't make assumptions. If there's something between you and someone in your life that felt off, or you felt triggered by it, or you felt hurt, or what's the word I'm looking for? But, maybe a disagreement or something, feel free to make the time to actually approach them and ask them, this is what it felt like to me. This is how I felt when you said da-da-da. Is that what you meant? Don't make assumptions. Allow them to tell you what they really meant. And often it probably had nothing to do with you. It was something they were processing in their own mind. So number 3 is to not make assumptions. Number 4 is to always do your best. So to bring your full self into everything you do. Don't half-ass it. Don't wing it. Don't, prepare for the worst or any of that. Just do your best. Bring your best self into everything you do, into every role, every hat that you wear. Do your best. That's all you can do. In this body, we are human. We are meant to have flaws and failures and lessons learned, and so there is no such thing as perfection. It's simply, can we look back on our life and know that we brought our best to it? We did our best. That's all you can ask of yourself. And if you have done that, that is the key to inner peace. Because then there's no shame, there's no guilt, there's no concern for anyone that you might have disappointed, or even your own expectations that might have been disappointed, because you know that you brought your best to it. You did your best. There's nothing more that you can ask of yourself or any other person or situation than that. And it brings amazing ability to sleep quickly without ruminating on too many things, and to feel that inner peace, to be able to sit in solitude with contentment and happiness and joy, simply by knowing you've done your best. So those are the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word, don't take it personally, don't make assumptions, and to do your best. So I invite you to really focus on those 4 things. If you have an opportunity to buy the book this week, go ahead and do that. And finally, the last assignment for this week is an affirmation. I invite you to write it 20 times. When I was single living in my own house, I wrote it 20 times on my closet mirror, full-length mirror. But it could be on a Post-it note, it could be in your journal, whatever works for you. But if you did my vision board party at the beginning of the year, it's the same mantra I used for that, using whatever word you came up with as your word for the year. But for this, we're going to make it love, because love is the umbrella for all the good feelings that you want to feel. Love is the ultimate high vibe energy. So we're going to do this affirmation using love as the key word. So it's 3 parts. I am love, I radiate love, I attract love. So those 3 sentences, write them each 20 times. I am love, I radiate love, and I attract love. And write it could be even more times, but I find 20 is a good solid number, that it sinks into your subconscious and makes it true for you. So however many times you need to write it, so it really sinks in as I am love, I radiate love, and I attract love. So those are your 3 assignments. So focusing on your soul, recognizing your heart wisdom, beginning in gratitude, really using these 4 agreements to stay in alignment this week with your greatest good and best version of yourself, and using that affirmation to do so. As far as our visualization today, I'm working on one that I want to share with you as an audio that I'll email out after this call, just because I'm working on something at 1 o'clock and I want to give it the full energy that it deserves. But I wanted to keep our 12:35 time for today since I missed it yesterday. And I invite you all, if this is the last week, we're really going to focus on developing self-love. So if you want more of that, I know a couple of you are already in my self-love challenge, but I invite you, we started yesterday, you can have access to that video, and then continue with us, and through each day, through Tuesday, is our self-love challenge. It's completely free. It's just my gift to you to go deeper into the tools and tips and tricks of making this a daily practice. So if that's of interest to you, I invite you to join us right now at 1 o'clock on the Zoom call, and each day thereafter. And we also have a Facebook group called Learning the Art of Self-Love. If you have any questions, you can ask me there. And feel free to use that, through the rest of this group as well. If things come up specifically about your practice of self-love, that's a great place to have those conversations. So I wish you all the best. I love you, ladies. Thank you for the flexibility on my schedule yesterday that we could catch up today. And I will be sending your visualization to really embody this practice of self-love deep within your soul. I'll be sending that audio file to you this week. I love you, ladies. Thank you.